Trouble for Tesla shares as U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission sues the founder Elon Musk for tweeting about taking the company private. And the IMF says it sees strong growth prospects for Ghana, supported by robust oil and cocoa production. And Egypt received the last tranche of $1.5 billion CFDB loan to support Cairo's development programs. This is your Business Incorporated with me, Osino. Let's get the show started. The shares of Tesla Incorporated was down 11% early trade on Wall Street Friday as market reacts to Thursday's regulatory action against the chief executive of the automaker, Elon Musk. The US SEC says is suing the billionaire founder of Tesla, Mr. Musk, for tweets about taking the company private, which has been described as misleading. The SEC stated in a lawsuit that Musk failed to that Musk misled investors when he shot off a tweet last August saying he was considering taking the company private and has secured funding for a deal. The SEC is seeking fines against Musk and seeking to bar him from leading any public company. Mr. Musk has called the lawsuit unjustified, saying it left him, quote, simply saddened and disappointed, end of quote. So let's see the numbers coming from the continental stock markets on the last trading day of the month of September. Here in Nigeria, the Ocean Index is about 0.08% lower in today. In South Africa, the GSE main index was also in the red at lunchtime. The EGX 30, that's the Egyptian 30 biggest in stocks, rose 0.41% on Thursday, and that was the last trading day for the Egyptian market. The Kenyan market remained 0.33% higher also on Thursday. And where are we with the Middle Eastern markets now? Closed for the week on Thursday, yes, but most of the bourses remain registered only marginal gains. Abu Dhabi's index added 0.36%, while the Dubai index closed up 1.8%, its biggest gain since the month of May. Qatar's index reversed early weakness to trade higher, boosted by bank stocks. The Saudi index gained 0.06%, a bit of a decent final trading day for September Thursday. Of course, for the Middle Eastern market, also the market will resume on Sunday, which is the last day of September. We're going to Wall Street. You can see the futures looking down Friday as political turmoil takes center stage at the Capitol in Washington. The Dow Jones Industrial Average futures fell 0.23% at the open. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 futures also pointed to losses when Wall Street opens in about an hour from now. In Asia, the Nikkei 225 closed higher, 1.36%. Most sectors advancing Friday. South Korea's Kospi index slumped by 0.5%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index was down on its earlier gains at 27,721. The Shanghai Composite climbed higher, 1.06%, while the Shenzhen Composite closed up 0.83% to end the trading week. Back here on the African continent, the International Monetary Fund says it sees strong growth prospects for Ghana, supported by robust oil and cocoa production. The International Monetary Fund came to this conclusion after its 7th review of Ghana's economic program, supported by the Extended Credit Facility. According to the Washington-based fund, the government in Accra continues to step up efforts to address financial sector vulnerabilities, with a recent purchase and assumption of 5 distressed commercial banks. The IMF advises that the 2019 budget will need to address persistent revenue shortfalls and start tackling decisively the issue of exemptions. Continued prudence on the monetary policy easing cycle is welcomed by the IMF, and inflation in Ghana is expected to remain within the target bands until the end of the year. Straight to North Africa, the largest economy, Egypt, has received the third and the last tranche of $500 million of a $1.5 billion AFDB loan to support the government's development programs. The country's investment ministry explains that the funds will help support development programs that meet the citizens' needs. The loan was agreed in 2005 amid an acute foreign currency shortage that crippled import activity and had the country scrambling to find new sources of dollars as shipments piled up at the ports and manufacturing slowed. Egypt has since implemented tough reforms under a $12 billion IMF loan program that was agreed in late 2016. And that involved deep cuts to energy subsidies, new taxes, and a floated currency in a bid to draw back investors who fled Egypt after its 2011 uprising. And that's taking us to Cameroon, where voter running a successful printing process says he will vote to maintain the status quo in October when Cameroon goes to the polls. The entrepreneur believes his business has thrived in the current political and economic environment of President Paul Biya.
When Samuel Long started his business, printing and selling garments 11 years ago, he had $900 in savings and did the work mostly by hand. Now his brand, Diedo Boy, makes about $1,500 a month.
It's been more than 11 years since I launched my business and started printing my T-shirts. Printing shirts has evolved because it was a little complicated before because I did not have certain machines in order to increase production.
Long says he will vote for President Paul Biya to stay in power because his business has thrived in the current political and economic environment, and he believes with stability it can grow. President Biya, one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, is seeking a 7th term in elections scheduled for October the 7th. The 85-year-old came into power in 1982. And his bid for presidency after scrapping term limits from the Constitution in 2008 prompted deadly riots. Mr. Long says he is eager to see what more the president can do for the country.
I want the current president to stay in power, especially when it comes to development. He has already started certain projects that he should oversee until the end. For me, he is the president I will vote for because he has to finish what he started.
Cameroon currently ranks 153rd on the UN Human Development Index, with an average life expectancy at 56. The economy has been sluggish because of low prices for its main export, oil and cocoa, and failing crude oil production. Things were made worse by a shutdown of the economy in its Western Anglophone region, which before a crackdown on violence in 2016 was becoming a hub for startup tech businesses.
And straight there to Uganda. Of course, before the South Sudanese refugees escaping conflict at home started arriving in the East African country, there was almost no mobile phone network in the country's remote northwest. But several mobile companies have since built masts across the region, allowing refugees and local internet access. This has seen businesses grow and enabled residents develop themselves.
On Earth for a very long time.
Residents in Uganda's Rhino Camp settlement are finally enjoying internet access after mobile service providers moved in to expand coverage to Uganda's new refugee settlement. Rhino Camp is located in a remote part of the country, and residents say they had to climb on trees in the past or move to higher ground to find a signal. Over the past year, the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, and other partners, including mobile service providers Airtel, Africell and MTN, have installed cell towers across the region, bringing internet access to millions for the first time. Richard and Gift, who are both from South Sudan, took a business course. They are now planning to start a shop where customers can buy mobile phone accessories.
This is the shop that we have come up with to open this business.
And we hope it will be a success here in this village.
Fighting in South Sudan broke out in December 2013 after a political disagreement between President Salva Kiir and the former vice president he had sacked, Riek Machar. Improved connectivity also helps coordinate distribution of food, medicine and housing, as well as allowing NGOs to distribute cash grants directly to refugees via mobile money transfer. Praised for its progressive policies, Uganda allows refugees to work, start businesses and own property. However, the scale of recent arrivals has strained already overstretched regional resources. Tom Bremo, a refugee from South Sudan, owns a mobile phone shop.
We have other relatives in South Sudan. They wanted to send us money. We just send them our numbers. They just send direct the money to our accounts.
By putting in one phone, we achieve 3 objectives. You first bring connectivity to that person. You give him digital inclusion. And the mobile money, Airtel money, which we provide as an account, your mobile number is also your account, ensures he's got access to banking.
President Kiir signed a peace agreement with Machar and other rebel factions in the Ethiopian capital this month. A previous peace deal signed in 2015 fell apart a year later after clashes broke out between government forces and rebels.